Welcome to another edition of a Brobdingnagian Minute. How long is a Brobdingnagian Minute? Well, about how long it took for the unicorns to hang on during the flood. Yes, it was a one long Brobdingnagian Minute. Gurgle, 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 gurgle.
That's so wrong.
What?
You suck.
What do you mean?
My poor innocent unicorns.
They only suffered for a Brobdingnagian Minute, hardly long at all.
Today we are talking about the unicorn song. You're gonna find out how we found that song, how it changed, and if the unicorns lived or died. So we will talk about all that in a moment. But first, we're gonna talk about what's happening and what's coming up as far as upcoming shows. So you want to kick off what shows you have coming up?
Well, yeah, actually, I'm taking a little time off now, and then I'll be hitting in November the Louisiana Renaissance Festival for 6 straight weekends. So that should be a lot of fun.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So good time there. And then after that, I'm coming back the Austin way to do the, I guess I call it a Yule Festival or something at the Sherwood Forest Fair on the 14th of December.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Fantastic.
And you have a lot of stuff coming up. Go ahead. Hit it.
Yeah. As this episode is being published, I'm going to assume I'm going to publish this one next. Make that decision right now. I'll be in Scotland, actually. I should be in Scotland as this comes out. But I'll be at Multiverse October 18th through 20th. Georgia Renaissance Festival. I have 3 days, I guess, scheduled for there. They're doing only Saturdays for their fall fling. And I'm doing the 2nd, the 23rd, and the 28th. I'm doing Irish Fest Atlanta with my daughter Inara. November 15th through 17th, Conjuration. And then December 8th is Nerdy Wonderland, my little nerdy event that I'm doing at the Lost Druid Brewery in December. So stay tuned for all of that.
Now,
I got a lot of stuff going on.
Now, I have to ask the question, though. I mean, you're doing the fall thing with the Georgia Renaissance Festival.
Yes.
Does that mean there's a chance you might be looking into doing the spring Georgia Renaissance Festival at all?
I have no clue.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad
you've thought about that. Good.
I have. I mean, the thing was, is it sounded like this is a new. They're setting it up very differently than they are the regular fair. I mean, there's at least one Irish punk band that's playing. So I'm feeling like it's going to be more like there's a festival up in Pennsylvania, a Renaissance festival, I think it is. And they have like a Celtic rock, day or weekend. I have no clue what, but there's a certain period where they do go all out Celtic rock. And I'm kind of feeling that might be what they're aiming for the fall fling. So at the present, I don't know if that will actually happen with the
if it'll translate.
Yeah, I think they're setting this up as something different. And therefore, the less traditional bands.
Okay.
Yeah, less traditional bands can come to this, whereas the Georgia Renaissance Festival proper in the spring is all about Renaissance. So I don't know for sure. I'm going to explore into that a little bit more.
Well,
in the days
the goal. So. I mean, you just outshine everyone. Everybody's wowed by you. And then you say, I could also do the spring one. And they're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's always the goal for every gig you do. So, yeah.
It might happen.
Okay. So you're at least open to it, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I'm open to it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But we shall see. It definitely makes I got to say that Renaissance, doing the multiple weekends of Renaissance Festival sure does make booking a lot easier.
It really does. Block booking. We've talked about that over the years.
Yeah.
It's so
oh my
nice.
God.
I mean, because when you, especially for me, now that I am a full-time musician doing on the road, traveling all year round, no home base, everything's in storage, and I'm giving this a shot. I mean, that block booking is so handy.
It definitely.
Really, all of a sudden, it's like, ooh, look, a tenth of my year is just taken care of. Yes,
I know,
and
that's exactly where I'm at.
A lot easier. So I understand.
Was doing breweries a lot last 2 or 3 years, and this year, this fall, I have the one that I set up through the Nerdy Wonderland, so I couldn't book anything else and didn't really have time to book much else. So I was like, I think I'm good.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, there's lots to check out, but today we're going to talk about the Unicorn Song.
Right,
and,
the Unicorn Song.
How that song came into our repertoire and how it made some changes from,
Well, let's see. It started out being my fault, and then it turned into your fault.
Yes, exactly. So where'd you you found the unicorn? You brought the unicorn into our music.
I actually don't know. You'd heard it before, before I brought it.
No, I hadn't.
No, you hadn't heard it before.
I'm trying to think now.
Because the thing
there was a little cassette that I had of Irish songs, and I'm drawing a blank if that cassette actually had the Unicorn Song on it, or if that was. I thought that was something that you brought in entirely, but I'm not sure now.
Well, I brought it in. I know that, but I didn't remember if you'd heard it before or not. I assumed you had because a lot of people have, but it might have slipped through the cracks. I mean, okay, the Unicorn Song was written by, the lyrics were written by that famous Irish wordsmith, Shel Silverstein.
Yeah.
Anybody who read, from where the sidewalk ends and all that probably came across it. And it was definitely kind of a classic at the time and popular. But in the 60s, this definitive Irish group, the Irish Rovers, came across it, thought it was hilarious, put music to it, and turned it into one of their big hit songs.
Yeah.
And it just dominated the 60s and 70s and was one of the de facto Irish songs of that time. Turned into a little, because of the subject matter, and it's essentially about the unicorns during the Great Flood with Noah's Ark and all of that, and they missed the boat.
And everyone loves unicorns.
Yeah, and everybody loves unicorns. It kind of turned into a bit of a children's song, they'd sing it at Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and camps, and that it became a thing. But yeah, it was just a very popular Irish song. And I had, of course, come across it through Shel Silverstein. I came across it through the Irish Rovers. Several different avenues, and it was always one of those, we should totally do that song.
Yeah.
So then I come to you, and I'm saying, let's do the Unicorn Song. Yeah. And then you can take over now.
Yeah, see, like I said, I just checked my catalog to see if it was in there, and it was not. So that was not one of the songs that I actually knew at all. I didn't know the song.
Interesting.
Yeah, this was all on you. Now I was iffy about the song. I don't know. Something about it was not sitting right, and it might be that whole death to unicorns with laughter.
That's what it was.
But yeah, I don't recall. That's the sad thing. But I do remember that was one of those things that stuck around and didn't like about the song. I think at the time. So yeah,
it's important to mention at this time that you and I did a very smart thing when we started doing music. One of the things we agreed upon was we each had veto power.
We could each hit each other with our own instruments.
Well, no, we didn't agree on it. That just seemed to happen on stage more frequently than it should have.
Oh, right.
But no, we both had veto power. So when you do music, you better love it because there are parts of it that are phenomenal. There's a lot of it that's a lot of work and not much reward. So you better really enjoy what you're doing. So the concept was, if one of us doesn't like a song, we shouldn't do it. Now, I really love the Unicorn Song. Mark was like, it's kind of a downer. I don't like it. And I was like, what? Really? No, come on. It's a gas. Why? What? And you were just like, no, don't like it. So he vetoed it. And for, I think, a few years, honestly, we didn't do the Unicorn Song. Because I think that was... We both kind of came into the Brobdingnagian Bards with like lists of songs. Hey, we'd like to try these. I had a little file folder of ideas I'd been throwing around for several years musically, and you'd already worked on a few CDs and had some ideas and everything. So we kind of compiled that. Unicorn Song was on the list, but it just kind of got on the wayside because of that. And then now here's one thing I'm fuzzy about. I don't quite remember how the concept of changing the ending came out. Did I come up with that, or did you?
I don't. I think I think it was you. I think you came up with it, but you were like trying to come up with a reason to do it, and it seemed like
did I say something like, what if we change the ending? Because I remember throwing out a bunch of what if we did this, what if we did that.
I think you're right. I think that's kind of what happened. You were throwing some ideas out, and then as we started going through it, I thought it was hilarious and said, okay.
Yeah. So you said, if you change the ending. I remember you saying something like, if you change the ending, maybe.
And then I feel like I went back to work, and then like the next time we got together, you're like, "Hey, I got this. What do you think of this new ending? What do you think of this?" And
can you tell I was motivated?
Right, apparently so. And of course, which is I think where I finally feel like I can actually come into the story, right. Because as the song progresses and it gets more dreadful and the unicorns are basically dying, I'm like, well, I start crying, which was where I was like, okay, well, let me see what I can do with this. And the tears, the unicorn tears that I cry for it, which ultimately lead into the changed ending, certainly has become one of the highlights, I feel like, for me and I think for others of the song.
Yeah, because it's fun. And the thing I like most about it is a lot of our bits, our little skits, our little comments, or a lot of them are based on truth. That we've always done on stage. It's like I'm a little annoyed by this, so I make it like I'm really upset. You're right. You're a little sad by this, but you make it sound like you're really upset, and that's right. We go to the extreme for the effect, but it's always based a little on the truth. Well, not always, but usually based on the truth. Yeah, and that always. Certainly it made it easier because, admittedly, our histrionics are magnificent and we're fabulous actors. But, it makes it easier to just kind of roll with it. And it seemed always, it felt more genuine. So that was nice. And at first, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty ticked I had to change the ending.
I believe you.
I was like, I like the song the way it was. But it certainly made the song our own, and it really,
that's something I feel like I have come to appreciate with you is that you pointed it out with like the UFCDs thing because it makes it we got that from 3 Pints Gone, right. A band we met in Kansas City. Renaissance Festival, and they started doing this, we have CDs, and people go, you have CDs? Actually, they just said, you have CDs, which was funny in itself, but Andrew took it and was like, we have CDs. You have CDs? That the little ending. Even I've taken your idea, and so I add a little leap to it, and I say the leap at the end really makes it for me.
The inflection at the end really makes it work.
No, the leap really, So it's that we take it and we make it your own, and right. I think the Unicorn song is a great example of taking a popular song and making it unique.
It's kind of cool to think that I'm like 99% sure that the Irish Rovers have heard our version because nice. It stands out. It's not. They did a version back like I want to say 10, 12 years ago, something like that, where the unicorns live. Yeah,
they did. It's
narwhals.
Narwhals. Yeah,
they did it where they actually turned into narwhals. And do I think that our version had some sort of an influence on that? Honestly, yeah, I do. Yeah. I might be wrong, but I think that I think at some point they were doing shows or talking about it, and our song came up for what from fans or from themselves, or from searching on Google and accidentally going to the wrong place.
Right, serendipity. Well, that's for a podcast that's coming in a couple of weeks. If you want to find out about it. Can serendipity make you a better musician and a better human? Stay tuned for that.
That's what I did there.
Good lead-in for that. Check out that podcast. It's going to be a patron-only podcast, so head on over to our Patreon page for that. All right, so back to the...
I really think it did.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Just like we planned to discuss. But
that was brilliant. I loved it.
But no, it really. I really think they did. So that's kind of cool. But if we just played their song, that song, and put our arrangement to it, but did the song, they would have never heard it. And
Yeah.
would it be as popular? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. Yeah,
it would have been just
how many bands have?
a kind of an okay song that we did, that maybe a niche
Yeah.
song that we do at certain events or certain shows, and people might like it, but
Yeah, how many bands have covered that song? Like countless. And
yeah,
so
a few.
yeah, so I mean, there's been so many, and therefore, it's not going to stand out. What stands out? Being different, being interesting. It's not just that we have play an auto harp recorder, second grade instruments.
I mean,
it's that.
As a matter of fact, I just had a conversation yesterday with the entertainment director of Fair of Champions. It's this newer fair out in East Texas and Palestine, Texas. It runs all 5 weekends in January. I'm doing the full run, by the way.
Cool.
But yeah, so a little extra the schedule show thing. But I was talking to her, and she said that she'd come to Sherwood and had specifically asked for the Unicorn song from me, and that's how she remembered me.
Nice.
And I played it for her, and she really enjoyed it, and she said that was one of her favorites. So I was like, yeah. Anyway, the Unicorn song is just one of those songs that people like. So it's worked well for us, and I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it was very strange how it kind of came out, where originally you didn't really like the song too much, and then all of a sudden, woo! I love the song. Actually, that's a good question. Do you still love the song, or is it still kind of I mean,
no, it's still one of my favorites to play.
Oh, really? Okay.
It is one that I find exhausting at times because I put on such a dramatic.
Sometimes I let you cry for a while.
Right. So that can be a little exhausting, but it's turned into something fun still, and I still love performing the song. And of course, one of the things I've realized is particularly this past year when we did Dragon Con, I realized that a lot of the songs we were doing are like the same songs, and I wanted to mix things up. It's our Saturday night show we talked about on the last patron podcast at Dragon Con. Our Saturday show, I started changing up the set that I had made because I feel like there's a lot of songs that we do over and over again, and I wanted to give the audience something different, something new.
Right. And
while we have a new CD that's coming out, we're planning on kickstarting in November. Hint, hint. Is even there, are all those songs ones we're going to put on the CD? Are these the songs that we want to associate with? Are these songs that we want to perform over and over and over and over again? Will they make us happy? Will they make our fans happy? There's so many things that go into this. And, the Unicorn song certainly, for me, has stood the test of time in that front. But what's the future? Who knows? I love it. It's a good song, though.
So what? We add another verse where the unicorns, come back and get revenge of the unicorns, and they start attacking Noah and his family and all the other animals and take over the world. I mean, what?
I love this idea.
Oh no! Why did I make the joke? Why?
Revenge of the Unicorns. That'll be the a title for an upcoming CD.
The Unicorns Strike Back.
Revenge of the Unicorns. Revenge. I'm writing this down. The Unicorns Strike Back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my God, that's great. I'm gonna die here. Any case, well, let's play the Unicorn song. Is there any other little notes that you need to share? Because you did share some notes about the song's popularity on our live CD.
Yeah.
Because it's the Unicorns, which are representative of...
Oh, that. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was slow there for a second. Yeah. Well, yeah. The thing was, the song was very popular. And honestly, before we started doing it, I didn't have any idea why. I just thought it was a funny, cute song. The Irish, let's just be honest, sometimes their taste is pretty nuts. So I just rolled with it. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it and had fun. But I was always curious why it was so popular. So I did a little research and tried to find out, and sure enough, it was popular because the unicorn is one of the symbols of Great Britain, specifically Scotland. And but at that time, they were synonymous in the Irish perspective. I mean, Great Britain had been a thing since the early 1700s. So yeah. It was just the idea of unicorns being lazy and not interested and playful and stupid and missing the boat and then drowning a horrible death for some reason amused the Irish. I have no idea. It was really it was that kind of thing, and it just it all kind of clicked and made sense after that. So that was kind of interesting. When I usually play that song on my own, I'll ask the audience, any idea why it's so popular? And I'm encouraged because now every once in a while somebody in the audience will know. It's kind of cool. Yeah,
that's very cool. All right, well, thank you all so much for listening. We're going to play the Unicorn song for you right now. And
Which version? Ooh, tell me, which version?
I was going to do the original version.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Cool.
So here is the Unicorn song from Songs of Ireland.
A long time ago, when the earth was green, there were more kinds of animals than you've ever seen. They'd run around and play while the earth was being born, but the loveliest of all was the unicorn. They're green alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, the loveliest of all was the unicorn. Now the Lord seen some sinning, and it gave him pain. He says, stand back, I'm gonna make it rain. He says, hey brother Noah, I tell you what to do. Build me a floating zoo, and bring some of those green alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, don't you forget my unicorn. Now Noah was there to answer the call. He finished building the ark just as the rain started falling. He marched in the animals 2 by 2, and he called out as they went through, hey Lord, I got your green alligators and long-necked geese, your humpty-back camels and your chimpanzees, your cats and rats and elephants, but Lord, I'm so forlorn, I just can't see no unicorn. Now Noah looked out through the driving rain. Those unicorns were laughing and playing silly games. They're running and playing while the rain was pouring. Oh, them silly unicorns. They're green alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees. Noah said, close the door, 'cause the rain is pouring, and I just can't wait for no unicorn. The ark rose up and drifted with the tide, and the unicorns looked up from the rocks and they cried, and the waters came down and sort of floated them away. That's why you'll never see a unicorn to this very day. It's okay, Mark, really, it is. It's okay, Mark, really.
Why did you say that?
Well, because you might think this is the ending to the song, but I'd have to tell you, friends, that in fact you'd be wrong.
Really?
You see, unicorns are magical, so when the rain started pouring, they grew themselves some wings and they took to soaring. There were green alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees. But if you're looking for the unicorn, don't be forlorn. The second star on the right and straight on until morn.
Thank you all so much for listening. We will be back again next month with another podcast, so stay tuned for that. And any final words, Andrew?
We'll be back.
Brobdingnagian Bards podcast is produced by Mark Gunn and Andrew McHugh. Sign up to our mailing list to download free MP3s. You can also follow our blog on Patreon for free, or support us. That's good too. And get updates of what's new. Find it all at thebards.net.